Hello, 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 everybody. I will give just a few minutes so other people can join us. Okay. In the meantime, if you can put in the chat where you're from, that will be really helpful. So I can make sure that if I go to into our translation editor, I can probably create a project in your mother tongue, so you can help me and guide me during this presentation. Okay. By the way, so the idea of this session is to present our platform to translators in general. So I'm going to give you a quick overview about the platform, how to create your account, and then I'm also going to respond to questions that I previously received. And also, if you have questions during the session, please send me to the chat. So, hi, Ellen. Good to have you here. And the idea of the session, most importantly, is to be as interactive as possible. So again, if you have questions, if there are any topics that would like me to cover in the session, please send in the try to address that along with the other topics that I already have here, okay? So to get things started, let me start sharing my screen so you can see my presentation. So I promise that I'm not going to bore you with like a lot of slides. This is just for guidance to guide us through the session. So I have an agenda right here. And again, so this is the agenda that I put together. So I try to change a little bit from one session to another. So I'm hosting the sessions usually every Wednesday. So, but again, so as I want to make this as interactive as possible, if you have other items that are not here in my agenda, please send in the chat and I'm going to try to cover those as well. All right. So, first things first. So, I'm Jamil. I'm the director of product and operations here at VitaWorks. I have been working here at the company for almost 11 years now. So, on July 23rd, I'm going to complete 11 years here at the VitaWorks. I worked originally as a project manager. Then I started working with our global team. Then I moved into our customer success team. Then I started managing both teams, so the operations and also the customer success. Migrated to our product team, so our tech team, and that now I'm working on both ends. So I'm working helping our operations team on one side and also supporting and coordinating our tech with our tech team. All right, so that's me. Nice to meet you. By the way, I'm from Brazil. I'm living in São Paulo currently, and it's good to have you here. All right. Okay, so again, as I mentioned, I want to make this as interactive as possible. So I already have some questions that have been sent to us right before the session or from the previous session as well. I'm going to start there. And again, if these questions remind you about something else, please feel free to send the chat and I'm going to try to cover those as well, right? So top questions of the week. Uh, I'm going to start to respond to these questions, but after that, I'm going to show you from the beginning how to create your account. So bear with me again. So if you don't have a account yet in VitaWorks, I'm going to certainly show you how to do it, how to create it, how to set up your account in the platform. But I wanted to start with these questions because some people sent questions in the previous session or right before the session, so they are probably pretty much interested on these specific answers here, right? So the first question is how to download term base, so or glossary, and translation memories used in a project. All right, so let me open my platform. So this is VitaWorks. I'm going to open a project, any of those. So maybe this one. this project is, oh, actually this task is have been canceled, but anyway, that will work regardless. So there are two ways, or maybe more than two ways, so you can export those items. So first thing, when it comes to terminology, you can export what they call a log-kit. So the log-kit, let me show you like this. So it will export either TMX file, an XLIF file, or an Excel file. So maybe you want to translate this or use this somewhere else other than in our platform. So you can export these three different assets, or you can also select this all option where you're going to export your XLIF and your translation memory from this project. So you can use, again, outside the platform, anywhere else. One thing that's important to mention, the TMX that is being exported, it is generated from the pre-translated segments. So let me give an example. Let me open this file maybe here. So the translation memory that will be exported will contain only the content that was pre-translated using your translation memory for this particular file here. So if I did not pre-translate the content, when I go in there and I try to export my TMX file, it is going to be empty. All right. It is not exported the entire translation memory for that particular project or file. Now, so again, that's the first option. From the project, you can export TMX for the particular file for the segments that you already pre-translated. The other option is going to context, then either translation memory or glossary. So both works quite the same way. I'm going to open the translation memory that I want to export, and then I can go in here and export the translation memory. It is going to generate again a TMX file. The difference is that this translation memory that I'm exporting here contains all the content that belongs to this translation memory. So not for a particular project, but the entire translation memory. The glossary is the same or pretty similar. So I open the glossary that I want to export, and then I'm going here export. The difference is that you can also export other than TBX, that's the standard format, as also Excel file or CSV file. So those are the options. You can also select which language that you would like to export if there are multiples. So those are the ways you have to export translation memories and glossaries. So, and just a quick reminder, so from the project, you don't have an option to export the glossary. The only option you have is to export the translatable file, which can be exported again as Excel or XLIF, or the translation memory that can be exported as TMX. The glossary have to be exported from this context glossary tab. All right. Okay, so I hope this answered the first question. What files are supported in BuildWorks? So I'm going to open our help center, which everyone has access to. So even though even if you are not a subscriber yet, so you already have access to this help center. Then I'm going to search for extension in here. All right, supported and unsupported file extensions. So there are quite a lot. So all the common file formats, just so you know, are supported. So CSV, doc file, HTML, EDML, JSON, PowerPoint, properties, SRT files, XLIF, JSON, YAML, and some others. And for the unsupported extensions, we also share with you like how you can handle those. So for instance, doc is an older version of docx, of the Word document. So you can just convert this into Word document. The same for Excel, PowerPoint. AI file, that's Adobe InDesign, it requires subscription. So again, we have most of them require some sort of preparation, so you can import in BuildWorks. All right. One that's important is that I just remember PDF. So people always ask me about PDF. So to put it simple, PDF that's right here, PDF is non-editable, as you already know. What that means is that the platform cannot edit the content. So the PDF to be edited, it has to be first converted into an editable format. We usually convert the PDF to docx, Word document, or to PowerPoint, so we can translate the content. If you have a scanned PDF, then most likely you have to transcribe the content because no tools will be able to, in most cases, when it's scanned, to convert that into editable content. All right. So depending on the quality of the scanned document, you may need to transcribe the content into a Word document and then translate it. Ideally, speaking about PDF, you are going to request or receive the original file that was used to create the PDF. Because the PDF is a file generated from something else. So you have like a Word document that you want to share with someone, you convert that into PDF and you send to this person, or it was like an InDesign file, it could be a Photoshop file, a PowerPoint file. So ideally, so you don't have to make conversions, don't have to transcribe content, you request the original file that was used to generate that PDF. If that's not possible, again, you still have the option to convert to editable formats or to transcribe if that's not possible to convert using any tools you have at your disposal. All right. Can one translate text and image files? That's a good question. That's kind of related to the previous topic. So the answer is it depends. So why it depends? So let me give you an example. You have a PowerPoint document. So PowerPoint usually have like a lot of images, like this one. I have a good example here. So this image here is not editable. So I don't have that option. So the text here in this image is not editable. So I have to either convert this into editable format, request my clients an editable file that was used to generate this image. So then I can edit and translate this content, or transcribe the content and then recreate this image. So it depends on whether this image is editable or not. So images in general are not editable, of course. So usually you have to receive the original file that was used to generate that image. Again, it could be like a Photoshop, Adobe InDesign, or something else. So you then can open that file and edit um, the translation, export, then the final image translated. All right. And of course, in most cases, that require also someone, a designer, to recreate that image in the target language. So usually the translators will just receive like maybe the transcribed content, or maybe just receive the image like this, and the client will request you to like, in my example, to add the translation for this image here as notes, and then I'm going to send to a designer who's going to be responsible for recreating that image. All right. But that's again something with images in general. Images are not editable, so you can translate as long as you have the editable file for it. How would BeetleWorks benefit a video localization company? That's a great question. Um, in BeetleWorks, you have first thing. Let me open here. So that's the main dashboard. You can scroll down to tools, to the titles. You can generate the transcription from here. So you can upload a video or an audio file, select the source languages, select the formats. Usually we use SRT, max words per line, max line counts. Again, that can be changed. Standard usually is 2 or 3 rows max. The number of words depends on the language, depends on the client needs. You can add prompt here, so you are helping or guiding the tool that's generating about some words, like some words that could be, I don't know, complex, like Beetleworks. Beetleworks is not translatable. So I'm going to give Beetleworks as a term So that can guide this AI feature that's generating the subtitle, so it knows, okay, so BeetleWorks is a word, so I'm not going to translate that. I'm not going to uh, change that. I'm not going to split that word, right, into two separate frames because it's a single word, a single term. Again, that's just an example, maybe not the best example. You can have external API of Python native. The difference explained in here, so you can read it. And also there are some options. So the difference in these options is basically how fast and how precise will be the transcription. And then you click on transcribe. That will generate the SRT file, and then you can use that to import into BeetleWorks and create a project for translation. And before I show you that, there's one more thing. So this is the first version of this feature, so we're improving it. The idea for this one is to, as soon as the SRT gets created in here, is to be able from here to create a project directly in the platform. Currently, it is going to generate a SRT file. You're going to download it, and you are going to upload it in BeetleWorks to create your project, right? But we want to integrate both ends, and this feature is also ours, so that's totally possible. That's already part of our roadmap. Okay. All right. So, and then let me just find the video project. Maybe I already have one in here. Okay, I have. Let me see which one is this. Okay, I have a project. So there's an SRT file. For if anyone don't know what is SRT file, is the standard format for subscription. So where you have time codes for each piece of text. And then I don't have a file here. I don't have a video. So maybe I can create one so I can show you how to do it. So let me open this document, sample documents. Let me see, I have a video here, House of Dragon. All right, so I'm going to create a project. By the way, I'm going real fast on these steps. I'm going to show you this in detail in a few minutes, how to create your project for the first time. So for now, for the sake of this answer, I'm just going to create a project real quick in here with one macro step, one language only, because I just want to be able to show you this in the editor. All right, so SRT file is here. It is calculating how many words are in the file. So there's a project permission running. The total number of words was calculated. So that generated a log file in here. The log file was used then automatically to generate the cost based on the price list we already have in the platform. So you can set up your own price list here, of course, or if you have multiple clients, each client can have their own price list set up in the platform. And with that in place, you can have your costs automatically calculated for the projects as you just saw. All right, I'm going to approve this so I can show you how that works. All right, so upload the SRT file, calculate cost automatically. I approve the project. I'm going to upload this media in here. I'm going to select House of Dragon. Oh, and by the way, if you need me to zoom in a little bit so you can see better my screen, please let me know. Okay, I'm seeing this in a bigger screen, but for you, if that you are having some sort of trouble to see what I'm showing here, especially for this smaller text, please let me know in the chat. All right, so I associated this video MP4 with this SRT file. Now I can go to our translation editor like this. Okay, let me just fill out a few of those segments. Okay, okay, okay. And then I can go here, left. Okay, LM. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I hope this is better now. Let me do like this. Okay, hope you can see it. Okay, so on the left-hand side at the bottom, we have these three arrows here, these points in here. You can click in there. You can change the format of previewing. I'm going to change to video preview. As you can see, currently, I have this plain text, that's the SRT file. So I have the segments here, the content, and also the time coding, as I mentioned, right? But now I want to see the video, actually the video. So I'm going to change it to it, remembering that I previously associated the video, this MP4 file, with this SRT file. I click on preview here so I can load it. And then I'm going to preview the video. All right, let me just mute this and expand a little bit. Okay, so how video content can respond finally to the question after showing all this, can benefit from the platform. We have the ability to create SRT files for subtitles, video subtitles. Um, Also, as part of our roadmap, we are going to integrate this creation of the project directly from the feature that generates SRT into the platform. So you can create the project directly from there. Again, it's just like a few seconds maybe, so you can download the SRT and create your project, but I know that's helpful. And also, we're going to keep improving the quality and the precision of the feature that generates the SRT. And then finally, the most important piece for translators, especially, is the ability to preview the content here in the video. So as they translate the content, they can see the preview here. So if I click on any given segment, it's going to lead me to that particular frame, so I can see in context how my translation look like this, right? So, and again, if I make changes to the translation, I can update this the preview in here and see the additional excuse me, the updated translation here. So from my experience and based on feedbacks from our clients, that helped them to remove entire layer from their process, because what happened previously before you were able to preview the video was that they had to have this SRT generated. They had translators translating the content. Then they downloaded, translate the SRT file, send to someone, usually like a designer, who is going to burn those subtitles in the video, send this video back into the translator so the translator could finally see in context. The translator was going to maybe send, I don't know, an Excel file or a Google Docs with comments. Okay, so this should be changed, we should do this, should do that. That was passed back to the designer, who was going to make those adjustments. Or if those adjustments were like changing the breaking lines or something like that, or applying directly into the editor if it was like a linguistic change. And then after applying those changes, the project manager download the file again, the predicted SRT file, send the new version to the designer, who was going to generate once again the subtitles the video, pass back again to the linguist, so the linguist could sign off on it. And of course, if there are additional changes, this process will repeat until they had the approval. So again, a lot of steps that are no longer required, because you can in real time preview the content here in the editor. So while the translator is translating this content, he or she can already see the preview and make changes based on the context already. All right. I hope this answered to this question. And again, there are new people in the room, so the goal of this session is to demonstrate the platform, focusing mostly on the translator's use case. I want this to be as interactive as possible. So if you do have questions that maybe are not here on my list, please feel free to send in the chat. I'll do my best to try to cover those as well during the session, or maybe in the next session. I'm hosting this session usually every Wednesday. Yeah, and this session is for you. So again, I'm counting you to share with me feedback, comments, questions, so I can make sure that I'm addressing any questions or anything that you want to see in the platform, right? And oh, last but not least, I started responding to these questions, but in a few minutes, I'm going to cover like the basic of the platform, how to create your user for new people, so you can try it out. All right. There's one more question here a new customer wanting to get more familiar with the basic functionality of VideoWorks, I would like to see some of the AI-related features and how to implement and use them. That's a great question. I will leave this for the end of the session because this will require 20, 30 minutes maybe, so I can cover those topics. So I'm going to cover the basics on how to create your account and how to start using the platform, how to create your first project. And then at the end of the session, I'm going back to this question here, all right? Okay, so let me go back to my agenda. All right. So I responded to most of the questions. There's one that I'm going to respond later. Now I'm going to show you this. So how to create your account so you can test the platform for free, 14 days free trial with no credit card required. Do a quick and initial setup, create your first project. And then you can, of course, play around with the platform and see how it goes. And also, again, since I'm hosting the sessions every week, if you have the opportunity, if you did not start your trial yet and you start after the session, I hope to see you in the next session next week. So you can ask maybe questions, additional questions, or new questions based on the test that you perform, or even share with me feedback so I can make sure that the platform is evolving in a way that's going to create a good impact for you, for translators in general. All right. Okay, so creating our accounts. So as I mentioned, we have this 14 days free trial, no credit card required. Um, I'm going to click here so I can, the link is not helping me out. All right, there we go. Okay, and then this will lead you to this screen on our website, and this is where you're going to start setting up your account on the platform so you can start the trial. I saw Ellen's questions here. I'm going to respond to you in a minute. Let me just show you how to create your account real quick. You can select yearly or monthly. Again, for the sake of the trial, there's no difference at all. So for instance, if I, for the trial specifically, if I select like monthly and solo, like this first option, everything will be included. So you can play around with everything in the platform, including connectors and all the features of the platform. After the trial, if you decide to subscribe to the platform to become a user, which I hope that happens if you like it, then you have to choose your plan based on your use case. There are explanation here on the difference between these plans and also more information here about this and the difference. So you can check which one will work better for your use case. Most importantly, I believe that the first thing that you have to keep in mind is how many users you plan to onboard to the platform. So solo only allows you to have one user. Here you have 10 already included. You can buy 20 more, so you have 30. And there are other plans here that which have a different number of seats, and you can also buy additional seats. The costs are available here as well. All right. But again, for the sake of the session, I'm going to select solo. So I'm a single translator. I'm individual. I'm going to click in here. I enter my name and my email, click on get started. Not going to do it because I already have an account for a long time, by the way. This will send me an email, and this email I'm going to be able to set up my password. With that password, you are going to access app. You don't have to remind that because in the email you're going to see it, but it's app.bwx.io. That's going to lead you to this the production environment. I mentioned that just because I'm in a demo environment, so the URL is different as you can see, but you're going to be accessing, of course, the production environment. All right. And then from there, you can use your email plus the password that you just set to access your accounts. All right. Now, before I continue and show you like this from the home screen, let me just check the question from Helen here in the chat. So Helen asked, I will be using BetterWorks via translation agents. How would it look for me as a freelance translator when they send me a project? How would I translate it and then upload the finished project? That's a great question. To show you that, let me just switch my user, because just so you can understand, this user that I have here currently is what we call an account admin. So it has access to everything in the platform, of course, in your own accounts only, but everything in terms of configurations and users and permissions and access in your account. I'm going to impersonate a translator, which is a different role. So the role is called vendor, which is the case that Helen just mentioned. So basically, as you can see right off the bat, the number of tabs changed quite a lot. And so based on what Helen mentioned, so she'll be working as a vendor, as a translator or a reviewer for a translation agent. So what's different? The translation agency will be the responsible for oh, actually, I do have a question, Ali, before I respond to you. I'm going to give you both scenarios, but are you is this translation agency a subscriber of the platform and they're going to send you the translatable content through BetterWorks, or they are sending you the content outside the BetterWorks and you are the subscriber of the platform? Because that may change how things are going to play out. Anyways, so I'm going to assume that they are the subscribers and you are performing work for them as a vendor. All right. So that will be your home screen. Of course, not with all these projects. Perfect. Thank you for confirming. All right. All right. What changes? So you as a vendor, as a translator, you are not creating the project. So the translation agency is responsible for creating the project. So the step that I just showed, like creating that video project, they are responsible for that. So when they are creating the project in there, when the project is approved and everything, there will be nothing here for you still. When are you going to see something on your dashboard? When they either assign a task for you, or if they activate the out task assignment, which I'm going to talk a little bit about in a second. So basically, you as a translator or reviewer, you can only see the tasks. So we have the project, which like it could have like 20 languages, 15 languages, and maybe you are responsible for just one language. So I don't know which language you are will be responsible for, but let's say that you are speak, I don't know, Japanese, right? You are the Japanese translator, which I know you should are probably not based on your name. But anyways, so you are the responsible for Japanese, and they're going to assign you the Japanese tasks. So once they do that on your dashboard in here like this, you're going to be able to see the task. So for instance, my example here, I have this task for this project, which is from English US to Portuguese Brazil. If I click here, I can see the files or the file which have been made available to me. All right. So in this case, in this task, in this project, I have just one assignment, just one file, so one task. So if I click here, I can then start translating the content in the editor. Another example would be the same, quite the same thing, but same language. The difference is that is another project, and we have four tasks, so four files. So I have four files that have been assigned to me for the same language pair. I can either open them separately, clicking on their names, or I can open maybe them all together by clicking on Join in the editor. The main difference is that, so as you can see, I have 3 of 6 segments confirmed. If I scroll down a little bit, after the 6th segment, I can see the next file, and then if I keep scrolling down, I can see the other files, right? What else is different? All right, so that's the manual assignment. So they send the code to their client approve it, the code, the project. Once the project is approved, they went there and said, okay, so Helen will be responsible for this language, for these files or tasks. They're going to assign to a user. When they do that, finally is when you're going to be able to see something on your dashboard. So that's one option. Second option, and that's up to them to do it, right? They can activate the auto assignment. How does that work? So based on your performance in terms of quality, delivery on time, and based, of course, on your language combination and your rate as translator or reviewer, uh, the task will be going to be offered to you. So, for instance, I can give you an example here. So, if I go in here at the top, there are those 74 tests requiring my attention. So, in my example, this alt task placement is activated. So, what that means? It means that for all those 74 tasks, that could be from one client or multiple clients, I'm eligible. So again, I have the quality index that they are requesting, the minimum threshold, my quality index, my how much I'm charging is also within the range that they can afford to pay, and my delivery on time is also on point. Based on all that, I'm eligible for that. So what happens is that now they don't have to assign the test to you. As soon as the project gets approved by their clients, so they change from pending to approved in the platform, the tasks that you are eligible for are going to be offered to you. So, for example, so again, I'm the translator. My clients approved multiple tasks there. So I saw this one. Okay, so this is the due date. I can click in here. Okay, so that's the preview of the content. Okay, so I'm familiar with that kind of content. I can translate it. I can see how many words in there and the match rate. Okay, so I'm going to take this one. So when I click in here, and I can, of course, read this and then accept it, I can start to work on the test right away. So literally without the manual intervention of a project manager, you can start to work on a test. So as soon as the client approves, you as a translator is going to be offered, and if you accept it, you can start right away. By the way, this is first come, first serve. So maybe there are more people eligible. So you have to keep that in mind because other people can accept before you do. One last thing still about that, you can go to your profile, you can activate notifications. So every time, so every hour, if there are new tests being offered to you, you can be notified about it. So you don't have to be logged into the platform and keep refreshing your browser every minute, all right? So you can be notified whenever there are new tests available. You can choose when you don't want to be notified. So I don't want to be notified after maybe 9 p.m. until, I don't know, I like to sleep until 11 a.m., for instance, right? So I don't want to be notified between these time frames. So I can set that up. And outside of these quiet hours, I'm going to be notified Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I can also activate, of course, weekends if I wish. And that's pretty much it. Again, remember, first come, first serve. Other people may also have notifications activated, may also be eligible for the same tests as you and accept the test before you do. All right. And most importantly, if there are no tasks available here, that does not necessarily mean that you are not eligible for any task. That can mean just that your client, the subscriber of the platform, did not activate the auto task placement. So in that scenario, the first option that I mentioned, that the manual assignment is going to apply to your case. So the task will only be available for you, visible for you, when they assign the content to Helen. All right. And I hope this responds to your question. Oh, I have that. That is a second part to this question. All right. So how you deliver the file, right? Let me open this. To deliver the file, uh, as you probably usually do with your AutoCAD tool. So you go through the file, you make edits to it, right? And then you confirm those segments. That will store the content in the transition memory, and of course confirm the segments. Once you finish, all that happens on the cloud, so you don't have an option to do that offline unless your client grants you access to download the translatable file and then upload it back. But assuming that you're translating the file online, you just have to go to the files, the segments, confirm them. Once you are done, you click on deliver. That's it. So once you complete all the segments, click on deliver. That's going to trigger the file completion to your clients. All right. Let me see if there's any other parts of this question. The project. Perfect. I think that responds. So do you have any complementary questions about this subject? I hope this was clear enough. Let me see Metal's comment. Seeing the preview of the subtitles was great. If you use the Pro connector to pull website text and perform the translation, would you have a preview of the translated website? That's a good question, Metal. It depends. So, by the way, we do have the Drupal integration. I don't recall now on top of my mind if the Drupal allows us to have access to a public web page or to authenticate. I can show you. Give me just a quick second. So the web preview, there are some requirements. I'm going to send it here in the chat as well, so you can also see it. But basically, either the page has to be public, so you are able, our platform is able to preview the website, like our own website, bitworks.com. So the URL should be publicly accessible. Content such as image, media, scripts need to be public as well, or accessible, or in a CDN. The website should not block HTTP agents, and also, or if the website has basic HTTP authentication, that's also possible. In the platform, we're also able to authenticate using basic auth. So all things considered, if any of those is possible, yes, we can preview content. For example, we have clients that use WordPress. We have clients that use Eloqua. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. There's Marketo and other connectors. So as long as you are able to access the web page or authenticate using basic auth, we are able, yes, to preview those websites. Okay. I hope this also responds partially, at least, to your question. We have to explore that more based on the page that you are going to preview. All right. Then now let me go back to where I was. Okay, so I was going to show you the home screen. Let me just impersonate again my account admin. And by the way, other questions, people, please keep sending the chat. All right. So I'm going to try to pause now as many as possible, but I will keep responding to your questions as much as I can. Okay. All right. So you went to our website, you filled out your name and email, you click on the button to register it, you receive an email to set up your password, you went to app.bwx.io with your email plus your password, you are now on your home screen. Of course, it will be empty, not like this. But from here, you can right away, start a new project. So create a project, or from here as well. Before doing that, there are just a few items that I would like to show you real quick that are important so you kind of understand the concept. First thing, which is the most important one, organizational units. So if you are testing the platform, it's important that you know that organizational units are templates. So that will really help you when you are creating your project. So for instance, what I mean by template. So usually my client translates from English into Spanish and I don't know, maybe Portuguese and maybe something else, right? And of course, if you're also responsible for all those languages. I can set up as many languages I want here, or change the source language as well. If I save this, whenever I create a project, this will be used in the project setup automatic. So that will be pulled automatic. It seems to be a simple thing, but especially in the beginning when you are playing around with the platform and are creating hopefully multiple projects to test it out in different scenarios, in different files, that's helpful. So you don't get frustrated. What else? So you can set up filter settings so for different files. So for Word documents in general, you want to clean tags, you want to translate comments. That's not standard, but you can do that. So you can set up like basic parameters for different file formats. So you don't have to do that for, again, every single project that you are creating. Oh, that's for web preview. That's kind of related to the question from Matthew. So you can set up the web credentials so to preview content that requires basic authentication. What else? Price lists. Again, you can set up price lists that are going to be automatically pulled into the project that you are creating. Same for translation memory, same for glossaries. You can already say, okay, for this client, so this organ unit, that's the translation memory that I'm going to use as the full read and write, and that's the glossary that I'm going to use. You can have, of course, different translation memories, different glossaries for different organizational units. All right. Pre-translation settings you can also set in here. So again, you can play around, but the main thing to keep in mind is that this is helpful, especially when you're testing the platform, still getting to know how it works. Otherwise, you can get frustrated because I don't know, maybe I want to translate with machine translation my project so I can test it out. If you don't do that at the organization unit level, you're going to have to go to each project that you created manually and activate it one by one. All right. So that's again, that's how it is helpful, especially at the beginning when you are testing the platform. Last but not least, translation memories and glossaries. By default, we create one translation memory and glossary just to help you to get started. So one thing that I would like to just ask you is to check if the source and target languages are the ones that you are actually going to use. Otherwise, the content that you are confirming are not going to be stored in your translation memory glossaries. If you have other language that's not here, you can just click on Actions, Edit, and maybe remove all the languages. Oh, I just translated into Portuguese. Okay, so you go in there and change into Portuguese and save it. So now when you create the project and you use this translation memory, the Portuguese translation is going to be stored. The same for glossary, same concept. You have some languages automatically added. You can change those clicking actions. All right. Okay. Now, again, that's super basic setup. So you can at least create your project. Now I'm going to click on new project. I can either drag and drop files or I can just click in here. I'm going to upload the same SRT. I'm also going to upload something else. Let me see the previous tab. Okay, I'm going to upload a Word document, an Excel, maybe strings, an XML, so different file formats. The files are going to be uploaded. Let's give it just a second for this Word document to finish up. There we go. Okay, continue. For this demo account, I just have one organizational unit. I could have multiple. By the way, organization units can be used in many different ways. The most common are your clients. So BitWorks is our client, so BitWorks can be our unit. Or if your clients have multiple departments, each department can be an organization. For example, you work with BitWorks, and BitWorks has, I don't know, marketing content, web content, legal content, technical content. So you can create, if necessary, multiple organizations because maybe the translation memories and glossaries will be different uh, among these different organizations or departments. All right. Contact person, I'm going to just select myself. This would be workshop number 7. Again, I do not save the change that I made to the template, so that's why it's still pulling Spanish only. But I can override that if that's necessary. So I'm going to use Brazil. Glossary translation memory, since I already had this set up in my organization unit, is already pulling the ones that I put as default in the organization unit. The same for price list. I will continue. Excuse me. workflow steps, I can set up which workflow steps are going to be used for each file type. So SRT, as you can see, has also QA and subtitle because most of the time it requires some additional steps. But I can remove those. I can remove everything, by the way, or even change, for instance, for this particular file, I also want to have Spanish. So I can play around with this. I'm going to create it. This will generate a project. All right, so we have just a few more minutes, and so I don't go over time. Two things. So the good question actually that I'm receiving here, I'm going to cover specifically at the beginning of the next session next week, but I promise that I'm going to cover that um, completely. That's kind of complex to explain. There are a lot of concepts, but I promise that I'm going to cover that the next session. And second thing, I'm not going to, I already show just a little bit of the editor. The next session, I'm also going to show that. Thank you, Helen. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Hope to see you next week as well. And thank you for the questions, by the way. And I'm just going to focus on one thing here that's kind of related to Ellen's question. So if you, as an individual, or maybe as a LSP project manager, create your account to the platform, and you have like an account admin permission, you are going to be responsible for creating projects like I just did, all right? If you are working for a translation agency, for LSP, you are going to see the other screen that I showed previously that had just a task that have been assigned to your user. All right. So you just don't get confused about those differences, because if you're just working for someone that is a subscriber of the platform, you're going to have one kind of access that's limited to tasks that have been assigned to you. If you are actually the subscriber, then you have full access, and then you are going to be the responsible for creating the projects, calculate the costs, setting up everything that I just did. All right. I hope this is clear. If not, please let me know. But again, based on everything that I set up, price list, files, the costs have been calculated based on the number of words. Now I'm going to approve it. And then here's when comes that difference that I just mentioned. So now, if I'm a project manager, for instance, this is where I'm going to assign the content to, again, to our friend Helen, or to someone else who is going to be responsible for translate this Excel file from English into Portuguese to deliver in a given date and time here to me. Or if I'm the translator, I'm the reviewer, I just have to wait until the task gets assigned to myself. All right. Okay. So, any final questions before we wrap up the session? I hope that I helped you sharing some concepts and just a quick overview on how to get set up to the platform. Again, just remembering, sign up, 14 days free trial, no credit card required. If you do want to keep using the platform, then you have to enter your credit card information. If you don't, after the 14 days, your plan is going to be automatically canceled. No charge, no fees, nothing. All right. And again, I encourage you to play around with the platform. So the idea here is to just give you some initial guidance. And I hope, again, if you start testing the platform the next few days, that you'll be back here next week or so you can ask me maybe additional questions or new questions about anything that's not clear, that you, okay, so I understand how to do it, but can I do this in a more efficient way? I can certainly try to guide you on that and help any questions you have about that as well. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time. By the way, this, as always, have been recorded. If you want to watch the previous session, this is available on the BeetleWorks LinkedIn and also in the BeetleWorks YouTube. I'm hosting the sessions every week on Wednesdays. So I hope you will be back here in the next session. with questions, or maybe just to observe questions from other people as well. That's totally fine. Most important, play around with the platform, and if you like it, subscribe to it. I will be glad to have you as a partner in our platform. All right. Thank you. Take care. Have a great rest of the day and week, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.